$654 million of your money going into a system built to validate your identity, which you will pay for every year of your life. And when the government buys big tech, the same giants are always cashing in. Palantir, big tech. But maybe not this time. So let's look at who's benefiting. I read the budget papers and the tender documents, and I want to show you the things Australians will never hear about. Let's discuss the $654 million, who it goes to, how long the investment will last, and who the suppliers are for the tenders. We know where this is heading, so let's dive into it. When we hand the government $654 million, most of us picture it going to public servants. You know, the people sitting at a desk, 9 to 5, doing their job. And some of it genuinely goes there, but a huge amount of this spend on technology doesn't stay inside the government. It goes straight to vendors like Microsoft, Amazon, or in this case, a biometric company. This is a black hole budget. It isn't extremely clear right now where your tax money is going, but let's have a look at what I found. When I think about digital transformation, biometrics, and cutting edge technology, I don't exactly think of the Australian Tax Office. Here they are, getting the largest piece of the budget, $357.4 million. This money seemingly is used to run the myID app, add security updates, and the ongoing maintenance. A huge driving factor when proving your identity in this app is the face scan, and you would assume the money goes into developing a face scan technology to implement in the app, but no. They buy contracts from third parties and use it in the official digital ID app. Back in 2021, the ATO ran a tender for face scanning technology, which is public information, and the company who won is called iProve. The contract total was $10.7 million, and right now, in 2026, the ATO is going back out to tender to basically buy the whole thing all over again. They might choose the same vendor, or they might not. So that massive line item isn't really paying a man or a woman to sit in a desk on the tax office. A big chunk of this check is written out to a private face scanning company. And I'm sure a lot of other systems are managed in the same way, outsourcing these technologies to other organizations with your hard-earned money. And then we get to the second biggest slice. That's Services Australia on a $135.2 million budget. And this is the one that no one really pictures when they hear face scan ID or digital identity, because their job isn't proving your identity at all. The easiest way to think about their role is that they run a delivery service for your identity. They grab the bits that prove who you are, and they ship them off between MyGov, Centrelink, Medicare, the tax office, and pretty soon, private companies as well. And that's the part I reckon is worth sitting with for a second, because the more services that get wired into one exchange, the more systems are running through a single government-controlled channel. Once your bank and telco are sitting on the other end of that channel, it is touching everything you do. And then it starts to get genuinely interesting. Looking at the government body known as the ACCC, who are allocated $98 million, and their job is regulation, which I know sounds boring and harmless as it gets, right up until you actually stop and ask, what is it that they're regulating? Because the ACCC is the body that decides who is allowed in the system in the first place, and from the 13th of November 2026, digital ID infrastructure can be accessed by the private sector. That means banks, credit card companies, and they are the first ones in the queue. As more people adopt this system, I can only imagine the cost is going to increase dramatically to ensure that we can handle all of this regulation. And the department that I can genuinely not give you a straight answer on, and honestly, I think it might be a bigger story, we might have to see what happens. The Department of Finance, $30.8 million. And the entire official description is to continue policy leadership and governance of the digital ID program. Not exactly a clear description of where the money is going. What does $30 million of leadership actually buy you? I don't know. And the reason I don't know is that the description they've handed the public is very vague. It makes me wonder, are they actually costing out a real defined job here? Or is this just a rough guess for a role that nobody's properly figured out yet? I hope they have a plan, because their presentation of this information just looks like a black hole budget. And the last one, the smallest line item on the whole page, the OAIC, the privacy watchdog. The one office on this entire list whose job is privacy oversight of every single thing I've just walked you through, and they only get $22.2 million. That's it. And to draw a simple comparison here, $357 million runs the system, the app, the security controls, the maintenance, all of it. against a $22 million budget for the independent watchdog that's supposed to be keeping an eye on it for you. That's roughly 16 to 1. $16 going into building the infrastructure and running the app for every dollar for someone actually watching over it. And most of us, ordinary people, when we hear $654 million, we picture a one-off cost. The government buys the thing, it goes live, job's done, everyone moves on. And honestly, I get why. That's just how a normal purchase works in the real world. But government tech systems isn't a normal purchase. It's more like a subscription and it never lapses. Every one of those budget lines runs for 4 years, and 4 years is about the shelf life of a government tech contract. So when the clock runs out, they don't just get to keep what they've bought. They've got to go back out to market and pay for the whole thing all over again. And we've got a real live example of exactly that. Remember the FaceCheck iProve company that I talked about before? $10.7 million. That contract was from 2021 and it's back out to tender right now in 2026. So 5 years on, they're effectively buying the same FaceCheck capability for the second time. And that $10.7 million was only ever for the software, by the way. It doesn't include the accumulative costs of the cloud computing subscriptions, the hiring of specialists, maintaining secure environments, and a ton of compliance that comes in the form of governance. VPN searches in Australia have exploded. The government keeps rolling out age verification laws, and every time they do, more of us are forced to hand over personal information just to use the internet. But this video is sponsored by Obscura VPN, a privacy-first VPN that approaches the problem differently. We talk a lot about identity on this channel, and most people don't realize that traditional VPNs see both who you are and every site that you visit. Your name, email, browsing history, and any data transfers. Obscura is different. It physically and cryptographically cannot link who you are with what you do online. Instead of linking your email address, name, or any other personal information to create an account, Obscura just provides you a randomized account number, ensuring none of your search history comes back to you. Their VPN method ensures traffic is split across multiple relays, similar to Tor. No single party ever sees the full picture. This is a real form of anonymity, not just from the big tech companies. It also ensures that the VPN provider isn't also spying on you. I've been testing Obscura and it's fast, lightweight, and lets you select locations around the world. Head over to obscura.com/techwin or use techwin at checkout for a 25% discount. That's TECHWIN. The link is in the description. Let's take our privacy back. This stuff costs time and money every single year to keep running. And remember, every dollar of this is brand new spending. Digital ID didn't exist until recently, and most of us haven't even seen a real benefit from it yet. And we're already locked into paying for it out of our taxes, year after year, while they wire it into just about everything that we touch. Your tax returns, your Medicare records, your Centrelink payments, all of it running back through to one centralized government system paid for by your taxes. And the government claims digital ID is free to use. And sure, technically you're not going to get a bill in the mail for using it. But before the digital ID was passed, proving who you were meant showing your passport or license. And that was free. Logging into a website without digital ID was free. Getting into government services was free. None of it cost you a cent. So when they hand you a $654 million identity system and call it free, what they're really doing is using that word like they're doing you a favor, while we're the one paying for the whole thing out of our taxes. And it doesn't stay free for everyone. Go and read the legal analysis for the next piece of this, a thing called trusted exchange or TEX. It says in writing that individuals won't be charged, but businesses may be. And the Digital ID Act was written so the government's identity system opens up to the private sector, banks, telcos, and the big platforms within about 2 years or sooner. Put that together. You pay to build the system, and then private companies pay to plug into them to check you are you. That is not free. That is a toll booth, and the toll gets charged to everyone who needs to verify you. And what happens when private companies incur another cost? They pass it on to consumers. So it's likely that we will foot the bill for this too. You might ask yourself, what does the government actually get out of this? They get one place to see you. Every service that you touch, the tax office, Services Australia, the regulator, every department this plugs into, all running through a single identity channel that they control. And the more of your life that runs through one channel, the clearer the picture of you and your life gets. Right now, platforms like social media and government apps can't force you to use government digital ID to prove your age online, but that's today. The infrastructure is being built, this thing is being scaled, and laws get rewritten all the time. So it is not a stretch to say digital ID is likely to become one of the ways to verify your age online. In fact, the government continues to say digital ID will make your life easier. And what's easier than one username and password to access your social media? An identity system that's central, one that can tie your real name to what you do online, is a system that makes stripping away anonymity easy. And it does, it makes your life easier for your personal documents and your identification. But not only for you, for them too. We are looking at $654 million to build core digital ID services, and then millions of dollars every single year after that, which compounds and continues each year until the end of time, potentially. We pay for it all. It isn't the people who signed off on it that pay for it, it's you. It comes straight out of your taxes, and it keeps coming year after year, whether you asked for it or not. Digital ID is getting built into everyday stuff. You already use your Medicare, your Centrelink, and your tax, and all of it runs through MyGov, the things that you can't really say no to. And it doesn't stop at public services either, because systems are being integrated into private companies, your bank and your telco and platforms you log into every day. So before too long, having to verify yourself through a government system just to do normal everyday things stops being unusual and becomes normalized. None of this is a conspiracy. Sure, I'm saying I can see down the pathway that it might be used in this way, but I'm not asking you to take my word for it. All of the numbers that I've told you today, I've provided, is within the budget papers. And I try to provide every single source and claim, and it's on my Patreon, so go check that out. There's a free tier that you can sign up for and check all the links. So the obvious question is, what do we do about it? And I get the question in the comments all the time, which I really appreciate. And I'm gonna be straight with you here, because I'm not gonna sell you some easy fix. There's no opt-out form for digital ID. Something this big doesn't get stopped by ticking a different box on a form. It only ever gets walked back if there's real pressure from people, normal people. But it really all comes down to leadership. So what I think we really need is a leader with conviction to reject this outright. Not to tweak it, not to review it, but reject it. Scrap the mandatory online age verification and say no to national digital ID. Because right now, the people pushing this are completely convinced that you'll feel no choice but to adopt it out of convenience. My name is Reese from TechWin Cyber. I really appreciate you watching. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, sign up to my Patreon, get engaged, and get talking. Thank you.